In this video, we will be looking at the two economic statements, which are positive statement and normative statement. Now, what is a statement? A statement is anything that can be said or written, which, if possible, can be proven to be true or false. Here is an example of what a statement is. People who subscribe to this channel are beautiful people. Wait, is that true? You tell me. Positive statements to begin with are statements that try to explain what is, such as inflation is a monetary phenomenon or unemployment is a global problem. Such statements can be tested and proven whether they are true or not. One of the mistakes made by students in trying to define a positive statement is assuming that a statement is positive if it is true or it's a universal fact. However, positive statements do not necessarily have to be true to be considered as positive statements. They just have to be able to be tested whether they are true or not using empirical data. Now, let us look at an example. Let's say Mike, who's an economist, claims that minimum wages can increase unemployment. Having said that, we then ask these questions. Can this be tested? If it can be tested, we then ask, is it true that minimum wages increase unemployment? To answer the first question, yes, it can be tested and therefore it is a positive statement. The introduction of minimum wages may lead to an increase in unemployment in some states, while it may also lead to an increase in employment in other states. What is important is that we were able to test Mike's claim. Whether it is true or not, I will leave it up to you to comment down below. Something that you might have noticed is that I used the word claim. I used it intentionally because a claim is a statement or a sentence that can either be true or false. So think of positive statements as claims that can be tested. Another economic statement is the normative statement. Normative statements are statements that are based on value judgment. Unlike positive statements, they do not explain what is, rather, they suggest what should be or what ought to be. In other words, they do not explain what is happening around the world. They instead propose what should or ought to be done during certain situations. Let me give an example. Here is a statement. Government should spend more money on welfare programs. This is a normative statement for two reasons. One, it does not explain what is. It instead proposes what should be done. Two, it is based on value judgment, and therefore it cannot be tested. Like a positive statement, a normative statement is also controversial. Even more controversial because it is based on value judgment, which depends on what one believes in or thinks is better. Just like Republicans and Democrats, economists will disagree on where the government should spend taxpayers' money, when, and how much. To remember normative statements, think of them as professional economic opinions, suggestions, advices, or proposals. Policymakers run to economists for advice on what should be done, especially during economic crisis. Economics is usually divided into these two statements. On one side, there is positive economics, which is more of a science that investigates and explains what is, while on the other side, there is normative economics, which is more of an art that suggests what should be. Here is a quick recap. Positive statements explains what is. Normative statements suggest what should be. Positive statements can be tested. Normative statements cannot be tested. Positive statements are based on research and evidence. Normative statements are based on judgment. Thank you for watching this video up until the end of it. Until next time, and there will be next time, if you can just press the button.